Okay. Well, that's what I was going to know. So here we are at the Alexander Dobbin House. And of course, it's one of the nicest restaurants in town, if not the nicest restaurant in town.
Owner Jackie White, everybody.
We're very proud that she, for many years, was a board member. It's her gap year, so she's not currently on the board, but I'm sure she will be again. And she is one of the driving forces. Yeah. For us having our brand new Adams County Historical Society Museum.
Woo!
So we're very, very happy about that. And of course, this area of town looked much different at the time of the battle. So the Dobbin House was here, and there were 3 houses along this side of the street, maybe 2 on that side of the street, and basically there's Cemetery Hill. And we are on the base of Cemetery Hill. And of course, on the very top of the hill is the Evergreen Cemetery was here at the time. So basically, they decided to put in the Soldiers National Cemetery on Cemetery Hill next to the existing cemetery. It made a lot of sense. And one thing that we talk about in the procession is little known fact. The procession came up Baltimore Street and it turned onto the Emmitsburg Road here. And so the thousands of people on their way to the cemetery came down this road, and then the procession turned on the Taneytown Road, went up the Taneytown Road a little bit of some distance, and then turned into the National Cemetery. I'm not sure if it went all the way up to the top of the hill and entered from, the Taneytown Road side entrance you use today. I tend to think that it just went up a little bit and cut across the fields to the platform that was on the very summit of Cemetery Hill at this location. And of course, the crowd assembled, they took the stand. We're going to walk around to Evergreen Cemetery to talk about, where the platform was and a little bit about the ceremony and the Gettysburg Address. But one other thing that you might hear when you're in town, since I have everybody's attention at this spot, is that there was a murder in Adams County in 1817, I believe it was. James Hunter killed another man down at 2 Taverns. He was put on trial in Gettysburg. Thaddeus Stevens was his lawyer. He was found guilty and he was hung. And they set up a gallows. And according to the accounts, the gallows was set up over here near the intersection of the Emmitsburg Road and the Taneytown Road. And I just mentioned this, one man was hanged one time from that gallows. If you go on any of the ghost tours, you'll hear about, the hanging grounds or, the hanging tree. But I hear it all the time up and down here about this hanging grounds. And I guess they buried all the people there after they hung them, and that's how we started the movement for the cemetery here at this location. But I do enjoy listening to the ghost tours.
Apparently, and sometimes stealing from them.
Yes, yes. But if you ever hear about the hanging grounds, that's, the one, someone was hung there one time. You have something to add?
No, here? I appreciate your interchanging of hung and hanged.
Yeah,
Most
I think
impressive.
It is hanged.
It is hanged, but you used them both, so that was really cool.
Okay. Now, during the battle, we were in the sharpshooter action would be incredibly heavy here. I just was reading an account where the 55th Ohio, actually sent men into the big stone church building on July 1st, and from the back of the building were firing at the Southerners at the edge of the town. But throughout the fighting, there were Northern soldiers along the side of this hill and Southern soldiers at the edge of the town, and it was a violent sharpshooter action. And I mentioned this yesterday to the people that came to our presentation, but I believe that the only time Abraham Lincoln toured the battlefield was when he came into this edge of the town and saw bullet holes in the buildings and fences here. You might think, while Lincoln was in Gettysburg for 25 hours, he might have taken advantage of a tour of the battlefield, but we have no evidence that he went down the Emmitsburg Road farther than the cemetery. He did not see Little Round Top or Devil's Den or visit the scene of Pickett's Charge or anything like that that we are aware of. So, but he would have seen bullets in the Farnsworth house. Now, you might also read, and this is a story that really, I believe, comes out of the obituary of Georgia Wade McClellan, when she dies in Iowa in the 1920s. But in her obituary, it states that when Lincoln found out that Jenny Wade had been killed in the battle, Lincoln personally invited Jenny Wade's mother and sister to sit on the platform while he gave the Gettysburg Address. And that is not true. And we even have an account by Georgia herself when she's interviewed in the newspaper when she's alive that talks about how she was so far from the platform she couldn't even hear what he said. So sometimes you can find an account that verifies or disputes something else. But I just mentioned that because you hear that about Jenny Wade and Jenny Wade's mother. And I wanted to point out, I don't know how many people were on the platform. How many people do you think? Do you have
400. No, I think there's something like 30.
But if you read the accounts of everyone who was at Lincoln's Gettysburg Address, everyone is on the platform. And you get the idea that, there's got to be hundreds. If everyone's on the platform who says they're on the platform, that platform is the size of Noah's Ark.
I like that idea too. There's a story about a woman who pretends to faint to gain access to the platform. Do you have any truth of that? She says she gained access.
Story. I think I have the story in my book when we go up there. But
all right. Oh, sorry.
No, it's good. And the other thing about it is, the other thing I noticed about the accounts, whether you were standing here in front of the Dobbin house or whether you were 30 feet from the platform, every single person in the crowd heard every single word of Abraham Lincoln's Gettysburg Address. Yeah. So he had a large booming voice, obviously, because this is a question we get all the time. If there's 15,000 people here, how many people actually heard Lincoln? And we don't know.
No.
Okay. Are we ready to walk up?
No, but questions? This isn't the best place for it, but if you have any burning questions.
Yes.
Oh!
On the race side, somewhere here, Tim was talking about entering the cemetery. I thought there was a stone wall on either side of the Town Road.
Yeah, so the question is about where did Lincoln cut up through it, okay? We do have a photo that shows what the Town Road looks like on November 19th, 1863, as you go up that way. And if there is a stone wall running the whole way, it is not substantial. Or as Tim would say, it's not substantial. Okay? Or as Carolyn Ivanoff would say, it's not substantial. Okay? So what would be interesting, because there's a lot of wagons also parked there, and I wonder if they just cut over some of those loose stones. So we don't know, is the fact is, but it's not like what you see over there. Now, in the 1895 or 1897, Gettysburg National Military Park Commission reports there's a substantial stone wall there. Tim, any additional thoughts?
Well, the stone wall, if you go up there, comes down, but it ends before you get to the end of the road. That's kind of why I think they go up and by the wall, but I don't know. I mean, you know, maybe they go all the way up and over and all the way in the other entrance. One thing we wanted you to know.
You know, I didn't have a single truck when I was just talking. Just pointing that out.
One thing we want you to know is they didn't go up to Baltimore Pike and enter through the Evergreen Cemetery gatehouse or up across that way. That's the important point, I think, that people, you know, don't get, that they didn't just keep going up, that they turned here and then they turned up that way to get to the cemetery.
Hello, this is Trace Atkins. To stay up to date on all the latest and coolest videos, please subscribe to the Trust's YouTube channel. Preserve, educate, inspire.